In this part, we will give some measure theoretic approach and then provide the necessary part of the Neyman-Pearson lemma and the usefulness of this Neyman-Pearson lemma for getting unbiased test. First, we give an idea of measure. Suppose X is a mapping from omega to script X, which is a subspace of R to the power n, and script X is an A or B measurable mapping, where beta is a sigma algebra of subsets of script X. The pair script X beta is a measurable space. The measure of a set B belonging to script beta is defined by mu of B is equal to integration over B of dx. Actually, it gives area, length, volume, etc. Then we get triple like script X, script beta and mu, and that triple is called measure space. Thus, we get double, which is script X and script beta, which is called measurable space, and the triple, which is script X, script beta and mu, which is called a measure space. For a function g defined on script X, we define the integral of g over a set B belonging to script beta as integral over B gx dx is equal to integral over script X I bx gx dx, where I suffix bx represents an indicator function which takes value 1 if x belongs to B and 0 if x does not belong to B. Thus, Ibx is called indicator function. Now, we get the idea of sets of measure 0 and their significance. If G is non-negative on B, then integral of Gx over B is equal to 0 means that either Gx is equal to 0 on B or mu B is equal to 0. We say that Gx is equal to 0 almost everywhere on B. More specifically, Gx is equal to 0 mu almost everywhere on B. That is, Gx is equal to 0 for all x belonging to B minus n, where mu of n is equal to 0 with n belonging to script B. That means the function Gx is 0 for almost all beta except some set n in which the measure of the set n is equal to 0. If the function g is non-negative almost everywhere mu on B and integral of gx over B is equal to 0, then gx is equal to 0 almost everywhere on B. If gx is positive almost everywhere mu on B and integral of gx over B is equal to 0, then mu B is equal to 0. Next, we come to the necessary part of the proof of Neyman-Pearson lemma with the help of measure theoretic approach. The necessity part of the Neyman-Pearson lemma states that if a test phi naught is most powerful at level alpha for testing the simple null theta is equal to theta naught against the simple alternative theta is equal to theta 1, then for some k greater than is equal to 0, it satisfies phi naught x is equal to 0 if px theta 1 is less than k into px theta naught, and 1 if px theta 1 greater than k into px theta naught almost everywhere. It also satisfies E theta naught phi naught x is equal to alpha unless there exists a test of size less than alpha with power 1. We call this equations as 1 and 2. Here we shall show that any most powerful level alpha test for testing H0 against H1 is necessarily of the form 1 except on a set on which mu measure is 0. As before, phi naught is a test satisfying 1 and 2. Also let phi naught be most powerful at level alpha for testing H0 against H1. Then from the proof of sufficiency we get phi naught x minus phi star x into px theta 1 minus k into px theta naught is greater than is equal to 0 for all x belonging to script x. Now we consider the sets A1 is equal to set of those x for which phi naught x is different from phi star x, and A2a is equal to set of those x px theta 1 is different from k into px theta naught. Then the integral of phi naught x minus phi star x into px theta 1 minus k of px theta naught over script x is nothing but the integral of phi naught x minus phi star x into px theta 1 minus k into px theta naught over A1 intersection A2. Actually, in the intersecting part of A1 and A2, both of phi naught x is different from phi star x and px theta 1 is different from px theta naught. For the remaining part, either the difference of phi naught x and phi star x is 0, or px theta 1 minus k px theta naught is equal to 0, or both of them are 0. If mu of A1 intersection A2 is greater than 0, we get E theta 1 phi naught x minus phi star x is greater than 0. That is, phi naught is becoming most powerful than phi star, which is a contradiction because we have taken that phi star x is most powerful. So to get E theta 1 of phi naught x minus phi star x is equal to 0, we must require that measure of mu A1 intersection A2 is equal to 0. That is, phi naught x is equal to phi star x almost everywhere mu. In other words, most powerful tests are uniquely determined on the sets for which px theta 1 is greater than px theta naught or px theta 1 is less than k px theta naught, but it remains undetermined on px theta 1 is equal to k of px theta naught, and that gives the proof of necessary part of the lemma. Now, how it is not uniquely determined by the necessary part, we consider the following example. For example, we consider a single observation x, and suppose we want to test that x has uniform distribution over 0 1 against the alternative that x has uniform distribution over half and 3 by 2. And by this most powerful lemma, based on a single observation x, we want to test that x has uniform distribution over 0 1 against the alternative that x has uniform distribution over half and 3 by 2. Then by Neyman-Pearson lemma, most powerful test accepts H0 if x is less than half, rejects H0 if x is greater than 1, and it also rejects H0 with probability p if x lies between half and 1, from which, using the size condition of the test, we get p is equal to twice alpha. That means whenever alpha is less than half, we reject the test on the boundary with probability twice alpha. Alternatively, we can choose the most powerful test in this way: reject H0 if x is less than u, and accept. Alternatively, we can get most powerful test in the following way: accept H0 if x is less than u and reject h naught if x is greater than u, where u is so determined that the test is of size alpha, and that gives u is equal to alpha. That means we are accepting the null hypothesis whenever x is less than alpha and rejecting the null hypothesis whenever x is greater than alpha. Thus, we get two most powerful tests in two different ways, and giving the discussion on the point that most powerful test is not uniquely determined on the boundary. As a consequence of the Neyman-Pearson lemma, we get another theorem which is given by that most powerful test is always unbiased. For this, we get phi naught as a most powerful level alpha test. Then if we take a trivial test phi x is equal to alpha, it means that phi x is equal to alpha means we always reject the null hypothesis with probability alpha, that is constant probability. Automatically its size is alpha and it belongs to M alpha, and phi naught is most powerful level alpha. So, phi naught has power greater than any other level alpha test, and automatically E theta phi x is greater than is equal to, as phi naught is most powerful level alpha test, we get E theta phi naught x is greater than is equal to E theta phi x, giving that the test is unbiased. In this part, we give an idea of getting most powerful test subject to one restriction. That means we have maximized the power subject to level condition or size condition, but sometimes we may require the condition of unbiasedness. That means we want to maximize the power subject to size and unbiasedness condition, and that will be discussed in a further issue.